you all know what this meeting is about, right?
Yeah, so everything is ready. You just need to discuss a few things.
Alright. So, let me just start off this meeting as to say this is a meeting for the catastrophe that has hit Lapseland on the 9th of May 2022. So, a meteor has struck Lapseland and we have basically put every citizen that we can inside the nuclear bunker. So, what are your findings on the meteor?
Well, as you have mentioned before, sir, a meteor has struck Lapseland Island on the 9th of May 2022, and because of that, radioactive elements have been found out, and it turns out to be uranium-235. But fear not, the research team have been preparing the rehabilitation plan, and to discuss a little bit more details, I'll pass the floor to the head of research team.
Alright, research team?
Presentation about the Lapseland.
So, hi Mr. Ray. So I'm the head of the research team for Lapseland, and so I'm going to basically introduce you on the theory on how we're going to find the rehabilitation plan for the island. So basically, the research plan is basically how to say, it's going to be focusing on when the biggest but safest amount of radioactivity that can be present for a human body to basically not be affected, which is 350 ppb, right? So to start it all off, I'm going to be talking about the theory on how we're going to find that date. Okay, so as you can see, it says here that what I've said before, and then that each decay stabilizes the radioactive material. So basically, as you can see, this equation, which is rate equals to concentration over time. All right. So from this, we can by each second, hour, and minute of a day, the concentration of the radioactive material will reduce. We call this the radioactive decay, and I'm going to talk about its kinetics. So basically, each radioactive material has, how to say, their own half-life, which is the amount of time taken to ensure that the concentration is being cut into half. So we'll be finding the half-life of the uranium, and then finding the duration it would take so that the concentration of the uranium will become 350 ppb. So I will now pass it on to my colleague, which will tell you what the meteor has done and what the problem is for this situation.
Okay. Hello, sir. Okay. Now I will be presenting the problem that caused by the meteor on Titan Island. Okay. The meteor has released some of radioactive of unknown materials to the Titan Island. Okay. The excessive amount of radioactive is released, and the radioactive on the island has exceeded the normal level. Okay. The excessive amount of radioactive can cause disease to humans, such as cancer. It's not only affect the human living, but they also can affect the flora and fauna. Okay. The radioactive have affected the flora and fauna, and it caused some animal was unsafe to be eaten, and it reduced the food supply of the area. Okay. It's not only affect the food supply, but the excessive radioactive also can cause water contaminated. Okay, now I will pass on to my colleague Ashraf to present about the methodology.
Assalamualaikum and good evening, Mr. Mir. So today I'll be presenting about the methods that we have used to tackle this situation regarding the meteor in Dapster Island. So the first step that we have taken is to find the initial concentration, and we have found out that it was 8.7 molarity. And after that, we changed the unit from molarity to molarity in order to find the final concentration of the elements. And moving on, we can use the molarity, as I said, we can use the molarity to find the final concentration. And 350 parts per billion is the safe level in the waterbed for people to populate the lobster again. So we can use we need to convert the unit from parts per billion to mole per liter in order to find the time we need for the radioactive to come to a safe level. Okay. So the rate for this reaction, the rate of reaction is the first order reaction. Therefore, we need to use the formula So we need to use this formula for us to determine the time taken that we need for that item to become safe. And assuming that the half-life is 15 days, we can get the constant rate. Okay, and using the integrated formula, which is using this integrated formula also, we can get the time taken, which is 327 days. And for I'll be passing the floor to our expert data analysis, which is Kong Chimeng, to further derive this formula and explain to you in details.
Thank you, Dale Ashraf. Good evening, May. Based on the data that Dale Ashraf give and we analyze it, these are the calculations that we did. Initial concentration is 8.7 mole. Based on this calculation, from molarity we have to get it to molarity, which is the same as 8.7. From initial concentration to calculate the final concentration, this formula has been given. We get roughly around 1.489 at the power of -6 molar mole. Since it's uranium-235, assume the half-life at 15 days. So based on the formula that Daniel give, we use it, we calculate it, and we get estimated time taken around 337 days. Since the meteor hit on 9th May 2022, we estimate rehabilitation date to reopen the island on the 11th April 2022. And that's all the calculation we did. And yeah, thank you.
Right, so thank you to my colleagues for explaining their parts of the rehabilitation process. So now I'll conclude on everything that has been talked about by the mayor, the vice mayor, and my colleagues. So basically, the meteor landed on the 9th of May 2022, and it has been found that it contained radioactive material. So for that, we have already explained on the theory and the kinetics of radioactive decay, and we have found that by using these three formulas and equations that we can find the approximate date on where we can expect that the concentration of the radioactive material is 350 ppb, which is now safe for humans to be and live in. So we have basically calculated and found that the date that we as a whole can go back and resurface and come out of the bunker by the 11th of April 2023. So that would mean that it is roughly a year from the date of the meteor. Alright? So that should be all for our team. And
Alright.
so thank you, Mr. Sting, for your presentation on the rehabilitation plan. I'll check on with the food supplies and see whether we can hold for a year or how long we can last. So for today's meeting, I think we can conclude that. Vice President?
Things all the research team have done a great job in discovering the methods and all. So, Secretary, any words?
Good job, guys. I think we will achieve what we want.
So that's it for today.